if they enjoy the lager, that's great. They're starting to enjoy craft beer, but that doesn't mean they're going to enjoy the IPAs or the stouts or even something, that looks dark, but it's not really like a porter. It's kind of a weird, thought process, I guess, that brewery had.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you kind of summed it up pretty well there, actually.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. I've done this one or two times.
Perfect. You sound like it. That's good.
Yeah, thank you. So tell us about your lager lounge. You guys, it's the newest addition to your location. How long you guys been thinking about this? And then I guess, paint us the word picture. What can we expect?
I think we're always, and again, I have to give credit to my business partner, Chris, for this, giving different ways to like change up the space and to, kind of cater to some things. Like we have a very large space, but like having a place where we can host some smaller private parties. Also, my husband and other business partner, Bill, is big Scotch guy, maybe doing like some small Scotch tastings up there, as well. And just kind of trying to make the space more dynamic and more usable in different ways. I'm excited up there. You can kind of see, everything from the top, and that's kind of cool, so it's just kind of like changing the space up a little bit, and it's just going to be kind of a cool place where you could host a small, 20-person party, and have your own kind of space, your own kind of area. So we're always kind of looking at ways to change the space and make it more dynamic.
I love that. What has the reception been like up there? Because, Denver alone, as you know, growing up there has, for a lot of people kind of been the mecca when it comes to a lot of the craft beers. And then you guys are in the River North area, and there's, again, so many amazing breweries around you. What has kind of been the reception when you guys are, obviously just a lager house, and the darkest you go really is going to be maybe a bock of some sort?
I think that, like, the way I look at it is that there are so many breweries that, we kind of just need to, like, fill our own space. And, like, the way we kind of look at it is, because there are so many breweries, there's less now, which is kind of crazy. There used to be, like, 10 breweries within a mile. And the way that I kind of look at it, especially on a weekend when people are going to visit more than one place, is it doesn't matter what the other two places are as long as we're one of them, So if you want, bigger, like barrel-aged beers, you can go to River North Brewing Company, or if you want, kind of mixed culture and, pale ales, IPAs, going over to our mutual friends and, kind of just filling a different spot. And since we have food as well, it kind of just brings in another element that people are looking for. And so, we kind of are lucky in a way with, sometimes I don't feel lucky having a kitchen and having to, run all that. I don't run the kitchen, but, having like that many more employees or whatever, and it's just another element of things you have to pay attention to. But, we get to have cocktails and wine and cider. So honestly, I don't ever feel the need to make anything else or to try and, get people in with something that I don't want to make, Right now, my assistant has kind of a side project called Amalgam, and I let him put in a little fermenter, and so he's been making some IPAs and stuff like that. So, if we have room on tap, we'll let him put that beer on, and it's just another thing that, like, we could put on people's beers that we super respect, and I don't have to be everything to everyone. I just have to be, us. And somebody else, we got to be really good at the one thing we're really good at. And we don't have to be that good at anything else because somebody else can fill that gap. I don't feel the need to,
It's a wonderful way to look at life too. Just be yourself and you don't have to fill every gap. Just, other people will also be out there to fill that for you.
Yep, exactly. And, I think it's just being comfortable in what we're doing and who we are. And honestly, in the beginning, it was kind of a hard, road to hoe, but like at the same time, it's just people didn't quite understand it. And I think hopefully we've inspired other brewers and breweries, and I say it frequently, like, you can do what you want to do. A lot of times you get sucked up into like what people are telling you should be doing. And that's hard because they're just going to tell you what your competition's doing. And if you're not really in love with it, like it's hard enough anyways to run a business in kind of the climate that we're in currently. So why not just do what you want to do and try to go hard at it and be compelling in the way that nobody else is going to do it as well as you are. And I think that's where we're trying to sit, is that this is the only thing I care about. This is the only thing I want to do. I don't feel the need to try to be something that I'm not. And I want to, compel people to see that, if you want something that's authentic tasting or whatever, like that this is what we do the best. I want you to have the best example of it. I'm not that good at everything else. I don't have the brain capacity for it. So yeah, in that sense, I think more people, instead of focusing so much on the outside and what people are telling you should be doing, to kind of focus on the inside and decide what you want to be doing. And hopefully, if you're skilled enough as well, take some skill, that the crossover is there for all three of those things, and you can make a go of it.
That's beautiful. I love that. So your food menu is very drool-worthy. Was it always the idea to have food? And I guess, did the menu just kind of evolve over time? I guess, walk us through that.
Yeah, we were. So we had this big space, and when we had left the previous spot, we were just kind of looking at what we wanted to do next. And we had gotten in touch, or it kind of just worked out that my business partner, Chris, who had a restaurant beforehand, he was kind of getting kicked out of his space as well, from a distillery, like a big conglomerate. I forget who owns it. Anyways, they were trying to take over his space too. So basically he was getting kicked out of his space as well. And we kind of had this idea that we were going to, have a bunch of elements, a cidery, maybe a distillery, all in the same space together. And the only way to do that in Colorado was to have food, is to kind of have a tasting room. You couldn't have a joint tasting room. It's kind of silly. And now you can do these things. You can have a common area with all these things anymore. But when we started exploring this idea, we couldn't have a common area with all these elements. So we went the brew pub direction, because a brew pub can actually, serve all these different things. So, that's kind of how it evolved. And since, like I said, since Chris was getting kicked out of his space, he's a smart guy. It just kind of was organic the way we kind of came together, and he was going to do, the food side of that. We were going to do the brewery side of it. It's kind of gone through a few iterations, and I think, between different kinds of, I think it was really, sorry, my dog's purring over here.
You're fine.
She likes to, she makes these little pig noises. It's funny when she wants you to do something for her. She's about to go for a walk. So, so, I think over the pandemic and everything, we just tried to focus on things that were executable, easily executable, consistent. And, I think the Germans do that extremely well. When you're there in the beer garden, you're getting something, you're pork, schnitzel, goes really well with beer, as it turns out. A lot of things go really well with beer, as it turns out. But, those foods in particular, they're kind of fatty, salty, and they just kind of make you want to drink more beer. So I think it's kind of evolved its way into what it is right now, and feel pretty good about, what we're doing these days.
I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to come up and check it out, because that food looks amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great.
Now, this one might be a little hard for you. What are three favorite beers you've ever made?
It's not that hard, honestly.
Okay.
Pills, Helles, and pills, honestly. I like making Dunkel well enough, but I drink a little bit of it. I love when we have Bock beer and Oktoberfest on. I drink quite a few of those seasonals. I love when we have corn lager on. But honestly, I'd be super happy making just pills and Helles every day. Those are the things that really still excite me, is trying to make them consistently and improve them incrementally, and to, have every batch taste the same as the one beforehand, and to really narrow in on what makes the extra special batches so special. So to me, that is what I look forward to, is having three different pills in the lager cellar and tasting them all side by side and deciding, A, do they taste like each other? B, which one do I like the best and why? C, where they are in their stages of lagering and in their ages and stuff like that, and how incrementally these beers change over time. And over the course of every 2 weeks, I think they taste just slightly differently. There's different elements of them that kind of start tying themselves together and creating a fully cohesive, functional beer. So to me, I really enjoy having a cellar full of the same beer, that I can taste in sequence with each other. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's what I want to be doing. And again, I love making seasonals and stuff like that, but it doesn't, I'm so excited to make corn lager because it's me with friends and everything, and that signifies summer's here, But for the most part, if we just made pills, I'd be just as happy doing that. So, pretty boring as it turns out.
No, not at all. That's awesome. I mean, obviously that's you're doing very well with making them, and you guys are doing very well when it comes to people wanting them and coming to get them. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
There you go. Yeah, I like the cadence of making beer like that. Again, seeing them in their different stages, taking care of them, how technique driven they are. That's what I really love about those kinds of beers, and just again seeing how they slightly change over time, or how they kind of start to again meld themselves together, and how they start to become what we were trying to get, and all the little tiny adjustments you make, and seeing if they actually make a difference or not. But those things are kind of rudimentary, but they're not, and they kind of just bring me little bits of joy when we get to drink them all side by side. So there you go.
Beer that brings you little bits of joy.
Yep, exactly. And hopefully other people too.
Well, obviously, yeah. Now, this one might get you in a little trouble, but in no order, what are 5 breweries in your area that you think that obviously other people should check out because you love them as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I have some very good friends, and I'm lucky enough to, I don't know that it's any coincidence that the people that I'm friends with also make excellent beer, because we have the same kind of drive, even if it's not the kind of beer that I make. There's people I learn something from someone every single day. When we're talking about things, and I try to, keep up with what the cool kids are doing so that I have some idea, because I think there's some crossover, even in little funny ways, about the way we make beer. But, I think, my favorite breweries, probably my 5 favorite breweries are, I'm really enjoying what my assistant's doing at Amalgam. You can't really go try his beers a bunch of places or anything, but, he started to put some beer in cans, and he was previously known for doing a bunch of sour beer, and not a bunch, actually a very small amount of sour beer, and big stouts and, mixed culture stuff, but has recently, kind of moved into the more, IPA, contemporary American Pils, whatever that means. I give him kind of a hard time because I don't know what any of these terms mean anymore. But being able to try his beers, it's really cool to see him. He's always been a really excellent, beer maker, and to see him kind of expanding, into those styles is cool. Comrade Brewing Company. I do, as much as I love lager, which I love it the most, I do love a West Coast IPA. And I think they have one of the finest West Coast IPAs in the whole nation. Superpower is extraordinary. Mark's down there, the brewer and owner, knows what he's doing and has been doing it really well for a really long time. He previously worked at Barley Brown's and had won the IPA category. He's won it a few times. So, they are quite remarkable. The only problem with them is they're 7.3%. Man, I'm trying to drink 4 beers here and you can't do that. I'm in the under 5% alcohol range. So that's my only problem with those beers. I give them a hard time. And then Westbound and Down, I think they're doing a lot across the board. Another really good IPA brewery, that is also doing, classic styles pretty well. They have a Hefeweizen, they have a coffee porter, which it's kind of funny. It's like one of my favorite kinds of beers, coffee,
Mhm.
dark coffee beer. And I
Oh,
never
I
make
love
it